A team that was expected to win handily, more handily than they did. It took them a while, but this is what the Chiefs do, Mike. They were down 22-10 at halftime, and this is why the Chiefs are always exciting. Even when they're down big in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, you're still waiting because you know, based on what they've shown us with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, they can find a groove and rattle off 30 points just like that. And that 22-10 deficit went away in the second half. Chiefs doing the things that Chiefs do, scoring points by the many in a short period of time and winning that game. Didn't surprise me at all. I never believed the Chiefs are out of any game. Even when it was 31-9 in the Super Bowl, I never believed they were out of that game.
So the biggest difference, obviously, of that game and this game is the Tampa Bay defense. So we just talked about defenses winning championships. They're not even in the Super Bowl without the way that defense in Tampa Bay was playing last year, especially even before the Super Bowl, and then in it as well to not let Kansas City come back, because we saw it out of Kansas City the year before, coming back time and time again in the postseason. So the expectation is they're going to do it. Tampa Bay didn't let them do it. The Browns, listen, everybody talked about the Browns and their on-paper roster was top maybe in the AFC outside of Kansas City, and as a team probably top three. Everybody said Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cleveland. But they had to go on the field and they had to prove it. This is another one of those things, Mike, where I was born and raised in Cleveland, so I was around the Browns growing up when they weren't doing anything. And then last year they make the playoffs for the first time, since the 1800s. They win a playoff game for the first time, since, the 1700s. So from a fan standpoint, the expectation is a little more, but there's still always it's the Browns, so they'll find a way to screw it up. But not in that locker room. The players are like, listen, look at what we did last year. The only acceptable outcome this year is to go further than that. Our expectation is to get to the Super Bowl, and that's exactly what they should be thinking. And I do think they have the talent to do it. So this ends up being a game where Kansas City has to come back. They've done it before, and they'll do it again. I thought the Browns played well. They'll certainly work out some of the things on defense, no doubt about it, because they're to get where they want to go, they're going to have to go through this team again, most likely. So they've got to work that out. Baker's interception at the end, was he trying to just dump the ball out of bounds? Was he trying to force it or dump it out of bounds? He got his legs hit, right as he was throwing the ball for basically an easy interception that ended the game. But they're on the final drive, to tie to win the game. So they were right there. So if you're a Browns fan and a Browns player, I know there's no moral victories, but for the fans, there can be. And they have to like the way they came out of the gates right here and say, okay, we still think we're on a good trajectory, while the players are going to be very, very disheartened that they had a 22-10 lead and they gave it up. That defensive meeting room is not going to be a happy place this morning.
Similar vibe to what Cowboys fans would have after Thursday night's almost win in Tampa Bay. Hey, right. We're going to – and especially even more exciting for the Cowboys fans because nobody thought they were going to be any good. We now think they're going to be good. We knew the Browns were going to be good. We don't think less of the Browns after yesterday, and they will iron out some of those wrinkles. I mean, my goodness, and Coach Dungy made this point last night. You don't put single coverage on Tyreek Hill when he's down the field making the catch. You can't have one guy there. You got to have multiple players trying to slow him down, and they'll learn from that if they get together again in January. And, who knows? There's a chance that we'll see this same game play out in the postseason just like it did last year. But the Chiefs, I'm so used to it now. And I said last night, Mike, if they could ever put it together for 60 minutes, they would score 100 points. Because they can't. I mean, I remember there was a game against the Raiders a couple years ago. They scored 28 points for the game. They scored them all in the second quarter. That's just what they do, and that's why they're never out of it. And I think that's the lesson. If you are lucky enough to have a double-digit lead over the Chiefs at halftime, act like you're behind by double digits, because the Chiefs are good. They are going to find the gas pedal at some point, and that 12-point lead is going to evaporate instantly.
Well, and you look at it on both sides. We expect it from the offense because it's Patrick Mahomes, and we still see some of the delivery angles that he has. And you're right about single coverage on Tyreek Hill, who ended up with, 197 receiving yards on 11 receptions. I mean, you can't make that mistake. You can't do it. But you also have to go to the flip side. it's 22-10. The defense only gave up 7 more points, right? I mean, Chris Jones got himself a couple of sacks on either side of the line where he was rushing. So the defense stood up as well. We always talk about the Kansas City offense because you should with Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey and what they can do and the way they can put up points. But remember, the defense, who didn't play as well early, and give credit to the Browns' offense for that, it's all about adjustments. It is all about adjustments, and the most adjustments you'll see come in the second half, especially at halftime and then on into the second half. And how does it work? And we saw Kansas City come back and score the points they did, and we saw that Kansas City defense play a little more stout in the second half.
Can we show the Tyreek Hill touchdown again? There's one point that I'd like to make, beyond the fact that the Browns had single coverage on Tyreek Hill, but the long catch and run from a second ago, I'll filibuster until the video cues up. There was something very important that I noticed that is a change in Tyreek Hill's approach to breaking free and getting to the end zone. There we see the throw from Mahomes. Tyreek has the ball. Now watch closely. Watch the right hand. Very sheepish with the deuces. See that? It's if you throw them up directly at the player this year, you're going to get 15 yards for taunting. He just did the very subtle, hey, I know if I put this hand too high, if I put it too far toward your face, I'm going to get 15. So Tyreek Hill has learned the line between celebration and taunting. He didn't fully go there. If you go there in your face, you're going to get it. But if you kind of hold it down here, no penalty on Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, he just enough so the defender saw it, right? Just a little acknowledgement, hey, see you later, bud. You got had a little bit. Then he did the little walk-in right by the goal line there. But you're right. There are points of emphasis here. It's a good point. And as people are watching, the games, the emphasis, every year there's a couple of big emphasis points. And for the refs this year, it is taunting. If a guy spends a little too long in somebody's grill or maybe raises that hand a little higher with the deuces, they are told to throw the flag. And a lot of times you'll see that early. We saw it in preseason. You'll see it early in the season just to kind of get the point across that, hey, we're not dealing with that this year.
Point of emphasis, a fancy way of saying the officials aren't doing their jobs the way we want them to, so you better start doing them the way we want, or someone else will be doing them.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.